Kulinski's problems ultimately boil down to two things, which is that he has trouble seeing the bad in people and he wants to build a very big tent. And what that means is that he has difficulty excising elements of the left and of left thought that are harmful because he associates them with the perceived trustworthiness of the people who believe those things. Jimmy Dore is an obvious example. Well, I'll put it this way, folks. Given my reputation, the fact that he's on publicly good terms with me is a pretty good testament to the fact that he makes an honest effort to get along with people. So what is it that you like about Kyle? But I think the thing that distinguishes him most from other people in the online space is something quite unique. I think that he's a good person. I just genuinely, past everything else, in spite of any disagreements we may have, believe that he is an actual good person who actually cares about people and actually wants them to be happy.
I actually agree with this also.
Obviously, there's always going to be a bit of an incongruity. Looking through the newest comments in Kyle's video, there are people saying Vaush is a State Department asset. There are always going to be people who run that line. I do, for what it's worth, implications aside, I do not think that I don't think that Kyle is like a Russian state asset. I think that Kyle is on good terms with people who basically are, though. Obviously, the gray zone cucks, also known as the cuck zone, also known as the everything they claim to hate in the rest of the Western left, also known as the bitch boys, also known as the chemical weapon sniffers, also known as the, I don't know, they're just kind of dumb. It's a long name. Yeah, Russian names tend to be like that. This is.
So I got a couple things to say already off the bat. First of all, Vaush is always the first person to say, "Oh, it's ridiculous when people accuse me of being a State Department asset," and then literally in the next breath, he'll turn around and start accusing people like Aaron Mate or whatever of being a Russian asset. So he's so fucking hypocritical, and it pisses me off because Zach and I try our very best to never, falsely accuse people without evidence of being an asset for any government. Again, until there's evidence in front of me, I'm not going to just fucking accuse someone of shit like that. That's stupid and reductive and unhelpful to the discourse. So that's an hypocrisy about Vaush that always annoys me. He's against it when people are accusing him, but then he'll turn around and claim that someone who works for RT is a Russian asset, even though that's no different than someone working for NPR or the BBC or Al Jazeera or whatever. So, that's already annoying. But then also to claim that Kyle's just like a gray zone talking point machine and that all his foreign policy takes are just like he's just repeating gray zone articles. I don't know if you've paid attention, Vaush, but there's actually some people that are annoyed at Kyle because he doesn't have the gray zone people on his show. He doesn't talk to Aaron Mate and Max Blumenthal. There are people that have complained about the fact that he has yet to feature either of those guys on Kyle, Crystal, and Friends to interview them at all. Meanwhile, he has talked to you. He's talked to David Dole. He's talked to all sorts of number of people that share your opinion, Vaush. But no, he's actually not like buddy with the gray zone guys. I don't think I've ever seen them like collaborating on anything or talking or sharing a conversation at all. I don't even think, for all I know, he doesn't even find their work to be all that impressive, which is why he hasn't had them on. So again, you can't just accept the fact that this guy has a difference of opinion on foreign policy than you. You can't just accept that he arrived at a different conclusion at you. No, it's that he's regurgitating Russian talking points from the gray zone, even though, again, he's never associated with the gray zone, not even once. You're just strawmanning him, Vaush, because you don't actually want to engage with his very clearly superior opinion on foreign policy.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it is. And it is such horseshit because everybody bitches about that, right? They either bitch about being labeled a Russian agent and then turn around and call somebody like a CIA with no backing, which I mean, I can't not say Max Blumenthal did that exact same shit, right? He was out there pretending that with that one YouTuber, Sean, who made a competently well-made video. Gavin could have done the same fucking thing. If you are, proficient with Adobe Creative Cloud, like you could get it done. And he was all like, yeah, this seemed like it had professional financing. Again, no fucking evidence. So you want to be the guy that like beats the drum and it's like, oh, it's so fucking again, like crazy that people would smear me and Aaron and previously Ben Norton on all this kinds of shit, and then go around and employ the exact same arguments with your still holier than thou, like all that kind of shit. Yeah, whatever.
The name, he knighted them. Yeah, just open the window. There are types that are. There are going to be people who will dismiss anything that I have to say because it comes off as pro-American and because I used harsh language with Russia. But I want to be clear about something, okay? I am an anarchist. Nation states are bad. They are forms of political organization that have caused more harm and destruction than literally anything else in all of human history. Every modern, bad, terrible thing that happens is a product in some way or another of the geopolitical relations that nation states create. There's no getting around that. Now, America, being the biggest and the baddest of the existing countries on Earth and of any country to have ever existed, does a lot of bad. Russia is much weaker than us, and in so doing, probably does a lot less bad. Proportional to Russia's size and strength, they probably do more bad. This is like a who's worse, a faltering healthcare system that kills 10 extra people through like poor regulation every year, or a serial killer who kills 9. There are degrees of heinousness you have to factor in. The second person gets the chair. The first people probably don't. They probably get, regulation. There are complexities to be gone about there. One fact, however, remains undeniable, and it is that we live in a world which is shaped by the political relationships of the post-Cold War era. We live in a world of explicit decolonization and implicit neocolonization.
This is where he goes ahead and talks
Or to
about how
put
he's
it
not
another
actually
way,
an anarchist.
Annexing territory is not something that happens anymore. The fact that a country with nukes feels like they can get away with that is very, very scary for a lot of reasons. Nowadays, when America does imperialism, it's either us invading a country to bring democracy, which, again, not a defense. We didn't bring democracy. We killed a lot of innocent people in Iraq and Afghanistan. But it's not done.
We should still try it again.
Yeah, and also, oops, we killed a couple people in Afghanistan under the guise of democracy. Hundreds and hundreds of times more people than Russia ever killed in their annexation of Crimea, which I'm not defending, but we looked it up the other day. I think 6 people died when Russia annexed Ukraine. How is
Crimea.
Sorry, Crimea, when they annexed Crimea under Barack Obama? 6 fucking people died? You want to say that that's somehow worse than what is it? At least, half a million? I think at least 500,000, if not 1 million deaths from Iraq and Afghanistan. I'm not great at numbers or remembering them, but what is it, Zach?
In Afghanistan, and then you also have to think about Iraq. Also, I don't have all the numbers in front of me, but let's just call it safely hundreds of thousands of lives destroyed. Versus 6 people, and I don't know. I don't think it's that, comparable. And then he goes on and he's like, well, when the United States does modern imperialism, we just do it like this. After he finished saying that you don't annex countries anymore. And it's like, well, we didn't annex the fucking country, but what if Russia just shows up in Ukraine, throws over their government and stays there for 20 fucking years? Like they didn't make it part of Russia. They just said, we own it now, bitch. Like that's what we did. And we also, as Gavin pointed out, slaughtered a bunch of people, bombed hospitals, committed war crimes. And also, I might add, Vaush, you were saying we should stay there and keep doing that like 6 months ago. Did you forget that? Now that you're pretending that this is part of your argument that like, oh, well, we did that and that was bad. And I'm saying it was bad. Well, you also said we should keep fucking doing it when we had the opportunity to leave, which is why nobody takes your foreign policy seriously on the left. It's just justification for people who feel bad about supporting United States imperialism because of the end goal, which is U.S. hegemony. That's who you're catering to, Vaush. People who are too trendy to get their news on the war from MSNBC.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I'm still waiting for Afghanistan to become a Chinese vassal state, which was his reasoning for us to not pull out. Still waiting for that to happen, Vaush. Hasn't quite fucking come to fruition yet. And yeah, the science change chimes in. These wars caused the death of 897,000 to 929,000 people, including over 364,000 civilians, and cost $8 trillion. And yeah, that's pretty similar to the estimates that I've seen. I'm going to take your word there, but for what it is, I did Google it, and it says that 460,000 deaths in Iraq happened. So I'm guessing if you add the ones from Afghanistan on top of that, that would make this accurate, which again, I'm no mathematician, but that seems a little bit worse than the 6 people that died as a result of Russia annexing Crimea, which again, not defending. I'm not saying that's a good thing that I support, but how are you going to say that that's not as bad or that that's worse than what we do? How are you going to say that, because we justify it under the guise of bringing democracy? You don't think Russia also has their justifications for doing what they're doing? You don't think that they're also saying, this is in the interest of the people and democracy and all that shit? This is fucking crazy, guys. Let's just take this back like a couple seconds and listen with the information that has now come to light in mind, because you really get a sense of how much of a dumb motherfucker this guy is.
colonization. Or to put it another way, annexing territory is not something that happens anymore. The fact that a country with nukes feels like they can get away with that is very, very scary for a lot of reasons. Nowadays, when America does imperialism, it's either us invading a country to bring democracy, which, again, not a defense. We didn't bring democracy. We killed a lot of innocent people in Iraq and Afghanistan. But it's not done through the premise or the pretense of annexing territory
fucking
or just
cares?
conquering our neighbors, or in that case, not our neighbors. It's done usually...
Brush over that. In this case, actually, half a fucking globe away when we were trying to do this. No fucking shit. We didn't just make it part of America. We have to give those people rights if we do that. Hello? Are you dumb as shit?
Yeah, this is insanity.
To foment geopolitical power in the area and bolster the power of our allies. Israel benefits from our occupation in the Middle East because by proxy it helps it's complicated. It's very, very complicated. But it's usually not just let's take this territory because that's a very old...
Because that's a shitty argument, Vaush, and they can't sell that to the American people. That's why they don't do that anymore, you fucking dunce.
Let's take this territory because that's a very old, antiquated way of engaging in imperialism. And there are reasons why neocolonialism is in many cases better than colonialism. Or to put it another way, if you ask the average Ukrainian citizen whether they would rather have Russian foreign investors and venture capitalists put money into their country, or B, be invaded.
That's what we did. We just foreign investors from the United States invested in Afghanistan and Iraq. That's what you're saying? Are you fucking kidding? This is disingenuous as shit.
Capitalists put money into their country, or B, be invaded by Russia. They would probably choose A, because the former is a little less scary.
What?
Especially when some people have nukes. It's
a little less scary.
That actually already happened in Russia too, by the way, in the 90s.
Yeah, and again, to say that what we do here in America, our neo-colonialism, our better version of colonialism, it's just akin to investing in the country. That's what happened in Iraq and Afghanistan. Not almost 1 million people dying, as we just confirmed. 1 million people almost died as a result of the Afghanistan and Iraq war, and that's somehow still better than Russia's colonialism because the U.S. isn't technically saying we're going to take over the territories. We're just going to occupy them for like 20 fucking years, extract all the natural resources that we can, and then eventually leave in defeat, like, again, literally decades later. How is that any better?
And not only that, but he's trying to say, he does say this, right? Like, if you poll the Ukrainians, like, which ones would they rather have?
America.
But the only evidence that he has that, Russia's even interested in annexing Ukraine, invading and making it a part of Russia is the annexation of Crimea, which happened 8 fucking years ago. Okay. And then after a bunch of Cold War rhetoric, now we're supposed to be afraid that they're going to take the next step. Almost a decade later, 3 presidents later, or 2 presidents later, however you fucking count. That seems a little fishy to me. And just to counter his point, if you polled the citizens of Crimea, I think the vast majority of them consider themselves to be ethnically Russian, and I believe they actually did support the fucking annexation of Crimea. That's why only 6 motherfuckers died, as Gavin pointed out. A lot more people opposed our fucking what he'd called foreign direct investment in Afghanistan or some shit. Are you fucking insane? Are you a crazy person? Like, that is the most disingenuous way to frame anything the United States has ever fucking done. Well, we invested in their country while we were bombing it to shit, especially the hospitals. Like, what the fuck is the matter with you?
I don't know, bro. Maybe this dude is a CIA fucking asset, bro. Just kidding. But that is outrageous. That is outrageous to say, our neo-colonialism, which kills almost 1 million people, is better than their colonialism, which kills 6 people. How? You literally didn't say how, other than one is under the guise of democracy and one is an annexation. Does it really fucking matter if the body count is 1 million higher in one situation than the other? Does it really matter what guise you're doing it under? And again, as if our occupation of Iraq and Afghanistan wasn't essentially the same thing as just taking over a country. Yeah, we're occupying it instead of literally considering it part of the United States. But again, who fucking cares? Who fucking cares? Like, does that really change anything? No. No, in fact, it might even make it worse, because if we had considered the Iraqis and Afghanistan Americans, we couldn't have justified slaughtering them in mass in the fucking public square, vaporizing them in drone strikes to kill ISIS leaders and shit like that, as just happened in the Middle East, in Syria, right? It's fucking crazy.